Okay, this is 5 in the morning inspirations. Basically, I kind of texted all to myself, so I had an idea what I wanted to say, and I'm not trying to memorize it. I'm just going to read it as I go, the way I wrote it. So, this is my survival guide if you don't know how to cook. My video, how fruits, vegetables, nuts can and could save your life. Plus, if you learn pickling and canning, it could extend the life of your food source or grocery supply. Awareness is the key. Education is the answer. Living it is the bliss. Being as healthy and as good shape as you can be is fantastic. But be as good as you can be for you. Don't feel the stress and the pressure. This is not about that. This is just for, if you don't know how to cook, don't sit there and eat candy bars all day. Don't starve to death. Go to the store and get some vegetables. Go to the store and buy some apples. Go to the store and buy some fruits. Go to the store and buy some nuts. It's funny how people always have money for junk food, but many times don't have the money for stuff that actually, if you buy like bulk celery, carrots, many fruits and vegetables, it could last you for days. Some of it you can freeze, some of it you can buy from the freezer that's already frozen, you can leave there. I mean, this isn't even about that. It's just giving you ideas if you don't know how to cook. Don't just sit there and eat popcorn by itself for a whole month, Try throwing in some celery and carrots. It might not taste the best to you, but learn to acquire a taste for it. Try eating some of that popcorn without the extra salt, and it could make you a different person over time. This is just some of my ideas or my thoughts. Of course, at this point, I don't have the extra pictures of fruits and nuts in there. I'm going to try and add some. It depends on the editor that I use. But right now, it's just an informational video, and I'm going to post this one, and I might even post a secondary one for the pictures. As well as I've heard taking vitamins and herbs can help save your life and keep you healthy and as well also. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Study it for yourself. Research it. Check it out online. Look up your YouTube videos. Some people check Wikipedia. Check your local library. Check with a pharmacist, nutritionalist, a doctor, anybody that knows about food. Check with farmers. Check with somebody that knows a lot more than me or you on the subject. Just do the best you can in life and do the best you can with eating every day. A lot of times I've tried to eat way smaller portions. I did pretty well over this vacation week. Basically, it's eating a lot of smaller meals, even if it's a half a dozen. Sometimes I'll eat 6 smaller meals a day. But the idea of my head is trying to get my inner stomach shrunk down so it's not so stretched. Yes, I've been a big eater, but I've been trying for a long time not to be. For the past 5 to 6 months, I have been eating a lot more fruit cups. Sometimes I'll dump the syrup out. Seems like a waste, but they say there's a lot of extra sugars in that stuff. Sometimes I'll, get some of the cashews, almonds, peanuts. There's just numerous stuff you can do. Definitely the raw food, vegetables is, from what I understand, or the plant-based diet is what people are saying. Salads without all the extra fatty dressings and extra sodiums can help too. So this is just stuff you can do. I mean, don't starve yourself to death. If you got the money to get the food, don't just sit there and fill up on junk food. This is just an idea of maybe it'll help you. I know just a lot of stuff that I've seen has helped me. The other thing I've done is a couple times a day I've added like a water bottle with just lemon juice. So I'll either make that bottle last all day or sometimes I'll drink 2 or 3 bottles of lemon juice. It seems to help take the hunger off the edge. Like if you get that hunger where you don't feel like you can't stop eating, sometimes that will help like 80%, especially if you drink it throughout the day. For the last couple of weeks, I've slacked off on that a little, but I have not been eating as much. And the last week and a half, I've been eating a lot of pickles a couple times a day instead of other junk foods and snacks. I really have. And this week, I've even taken a break from the fruit cups because I've been eating so many of them. But that's a whole different story. I'm not going to mention, I've gave up many junk foods for 10 plus years. I gave up sugars from beverages for the most part. I still drink a couple dozen pops a year, maybe more. I still get those fancy coffees sometimes that already have the sugars in them, but I try not to make it a habit. I really don't. Bottled water, that's a whole different story. But the lemon juice really does. If you get that binge eating, sometimes it's helped me, like, break the habit of getting that extra hunger, and trying to take your mind off the food and stay out of the kitchen helps too sometimes. And you know, I'll cover food on the counter, or I'll keep it in the cupboard, or I'll keep it in the fridge, so I don't just see it. I try and leave the healthier food sitting around, or have that in front, so I have to reach past it or move it physically. So I put many obstacles in my way. Healthy choices. Believe it or not, I do these little tricks as often as I can. So basically, eat raw, clean vegetables, fruits, and nuts. This is what my idea is for your survival guide of if you don't know how to cook. Yes, you may have to wash them, clean them. If people in the field, they munched on stuff and ate it without cleaning it, just brush it off. I mean, when I was a kid, I've eaten potatoes and bites of carrots and peas and green beans, and I never was a big vegetable eater, believe it or not. But I always did like raw vegetables, and I always liked beef stew, and I always liked those roasts that have the vegetables in them. So sometimes those are probably a little overcooked, but people say you can still get nutritional value from that. So I'm not trying to change the subject by any means, because it's getting more into the cooked foods, and I'm saying if you don't know how to cook, just eat the raw food, the vegetables, the fruits, the nuts, and the apples. You can also get yourself a little cooker. Just don't overcook them to where all the nutrients are gone every day. It's the one thing I saw said several places actually. 51% of your diet should be raw and uncooked fruits, vegetables, or nuts. So, I mean, I'm just not pulling this out of there. That part, I've got that information from other places. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just stuff that's compiling in my head over time. So, basically, that's the thought. Do your own research, watch your own videos, look it up, check with your nutritionalist, check with your doctor. Getting back to the focus here. That was the next thing on the list. So, but I do barely drink anything else, but I do drink a lot of bottled water, filtered water, and I do drink tap water. If I go somewhere, I usually just get a tap water. Rarely will I get an iced tea, and if I do, it's no sugar. Rarely will I sip a pop or a juice in a restaurant. One, it's a little cheaper. Two, sometimes I'll buy the bottled water if they have it, but a lot of times they don't. And somebody told me years ago they don't even drink liquid with their food because it kind of messes up the digestion a little. Especially for people that have got the acid reflux. If you eat your food and you drink a gallon of water, it's diluting your stomach acid. So a lot of times it's working against that. And I didn't even think about putting that in there until now. It just struck me. And because I seen this one guy, he was eating his whole meal. He's eating a small bowl of food. First of all, that was his meal. And he doesn't drink liquid with it. He adds at interval times. Now, I'm going to sip in food, and I barely drink a half cup of water at a meal. Rarely will I drink a whole cup of water. I've cut way back. I used to drink 2, 3, 4, 5 glasses of pop or water. Now I try to keep it to a small glass of water. And there's times the other day I ate a meal, I didn't even sip anything till after the meal was gone. Because a lot of times the meal has liquids in it, especially if it is cooked or steamed or has broth or juices. So it's just an added thought of something you might want to try, especially for people that have those issues. The other thing is the chiropractor said there's dietary enzymes you can take instead of the anti-acid stuff. And don't get me wrong, I've taken my share of calcium pills, but some of the long-term anti-acid medicines that people take, some people have rumored that say it can cause bone breakage. There's all kind of list of stuff in there you should be aware of. But there's dietary vegetable enzymes or vegan brand enzymes you can get that it's really supposed to help, and over time it's your whole body. When you get yourself as fit as you can for you from head to toe, a lot of that stuff will go away. Well, 20, 30 years ago I used to get a lot of heartburns, but I was eating 5, 6 big meals a day or more. A lot of snack cakes, believe me. After 10 years of eating bad snack cakes, I cut back on that. I just didn't cut back on some of the other stuff. That's happening now that I'm a little older. Now that I'm a few weeks older from 20 years ago. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm just telling you this is part of my journey of where I've gone, what I've become, how I'm thinking, how I'm trying to get my mindset more focused on the plant-based or the raw vegetables, foods, fruits, and nuts. Yes, I'm still eating other stuff, but I am eating way smaller portions. Way smaller portions. Enough said about that for now. So I do really drink the pop and the juices. If I do drink coffee and tea, a lot of times if I'm tired at work, sometimes I'll drink this much coffee with no sugar. If I drink a tea, many times I'll get the decaf tea. If I do get the regular, sometimes I'll have them mix it. I'm like, can you put a little decaf coffee too? Can you give me just a little caffeine and 3/4 decaf? A lot of times my body's not used to that, so it helps keep me awake even longer. And then sometimes if I'm really tired partway through the day, if I hadn't got a lot of sleep, I'll drink a whole half a cup. Rarely am I, and I put a lot of ice in there so I can drink it quick, but rarely am I drinking a whole cup of coffee at work. And I've been doing that for, seriously, at least 5 years. The 10 years ago, 11 years ago is when I cut back on the sugars and the coffees and the teas. But getting on with it. This is not a health video. This is not a health food video. I am not telling you what to do. I am obviously not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just kind of like on this journey that someday maybe my daughter will see this video and she'll step up her game and even eat a little better. We're trying to tell her, but then, we're breaking our habits while trying to eat better, so to give her better habits. And, maybe seeing this video when she's a little older will help inspire her, because I'm not going to be able to tell her stuff every day, nor is she going to pay attention. I didn't pay attention to my mother that used to tell me, eat your vegetables. It's taken me 40, 50 years to get to the point where I'm even starting to like them sometimes. Like I said, I did eat raw vegetables before, but to eat vegetables 5 to 10 times a day like some people do, no. A couple times a week, maybe. And even then it was iffy. I probably went days to weeks to months, but it's not about that. It's about switching to what we do now, what we're trying to attain now, what you can attain for you. So this is not a health video. It's to give you information on what you want to do if you can't cook. It's your survival guide if you can't cook. I don't recommend eating cold food out of the cans, because a lot of them say heat to temp 160 or more. So, but I suppose if you're stuck in the mountains and you don't have a cooking source, it's a different story, different day. You could probably make a little solar oven or something. I don't know, but I just threw that in there for a little bit of funny entertainment. So basically, but you have to have your own food supply. That's another video if you don't have your own supplies, or if you don't have a way to grow them or buy them. That's a whole different video. That's a whole different spectrum. This is a survival guide if you don't know how to cook, but you have the resources or can, get the stuff from the store or grow it. So, if you don't have the resources that you need, I would highly suggest the many prayers, meditations, churches, and other survival guides of learning to survive and live in the world. Because if you're watching this video, somehow you got the technology to get there. Whether it's your library or your house or your phone or your friends, somebody's feeding you or you're eating food somewhere. The difference is, if you got $500 for food, don't buy 500 candy bars. At least spend a couple hundred on your vegetables, fruits, and nuts. And, what I started doing is I'll buy an apple or two, a pear or two, an orange or two. That way it doesn't go bad on the counter. I'll still get a bunch of bananas because they go quicker. It's easy to freeze those. Sometimes we'll buy the freezer food or vegetables that will, last longer. Don't go buy $200 worth of vegetables and be mad in a week when it goes bad because you didn't eat it. Because you have to give yourself time to get used to the taste and get away from the addiction of the sugars and salts and additives in the other food, which will happen over time. I'm not totally there yet, but my taste buds have changed over time. From different environments I've been in and stuff like that, and just as you get older, I can eat more hot foods now than I did when I was younger. It doesn't bother me, so my taste buds have changed tremendously. So that's what I'm saying, is it's like, just do the best you can as often as you can for you and your family. So, when you can buy the vegetables, sometimes rinse them in water. You can soak them, clean them for a bit. If you do get the canned stuff, many times I'll dump the juice out and either soak it or just rinse them 5 times or a couple times. Sometimes I'll soak them to get some of the extra stuff out. I have been known to mix my vegetables in soups. Yes, probably canned soups, but you can do homemade. Um, I've made, when I was on a kick there a few years ago, I was making vegetable casseroles all the time. I'd take every kind of vegetable I could and just dump it in a casserole and add either broth soup or mushroom soup or something. For a while there, I was eating pea soup. It was kind of like, and they do say if you eat like a porridge almost, if you eat a small clump of food that's heated and you eat slow, your body will learn to adjust. So basically, I'm not telling you to do that, but I've tried. I had my jaw at a place for about a month, and I literally had to switch to what I call porridge. It was mixed vegetables and potatoes with a little soup broth in a blender. Usually at work, dumped out of a baggie on a plate, heated in a microwave. Yes, I know. But I still use a microwave, but I try not to. I minimize it. But my God, it was like, if I could barely chew. But taking smaller bites and chewing your food like I've heard since I was a kid. You know, some people say chew your food 30 times. Well, if you can do that, good for you. Sometimes I'll make myself chew my food an extra 5 or 10 times if I think of it. But normally I'll just eat normal and slow. And your body, once it thinks it's full, it might take, once you've eaten food, it might take 20 minutes for your body to catch up and say, I'm full. Now, I don't know how much food you need to eat. Obviously, once you get yourself to the point of you're eating small meals, you only have to eat a small amount. And you give yourself 20 minutes before you eat some more, or 45 minutes, and your body will feel full. Now, if we learn to eat only when we're hungry, or if we need the nutrition, as I say, because there's times that I know I need to eat some food and I need something nutritional, and I'll even take just a small bite or a spoonful. And that's why I brought that up that way. Because there's times like, if we only eat when we're hungry, yes, that will help tremendously. If we only eat small portions, that'll help tremendously. If it's 5, 6 times a day, if it's maybe 8 times a day, but it's only a few spoons. There's people that do fasting meditations. I've heard of people going days or weeks on just small amounts of food. Some people will fast for 4 days with no food, but that's a whole different process of where they have to be there mentally, physically, stabilityized. Yeah, I know. But anyways, that's what I'm saying. That's all. I'm not suggesting that by any means. I'm just saying, when I was eating that little bit of porridge, as I called it, I had my ground up vegetables in a blender, and I just had a little clump, not even this big, and I would heat it, and I would just eat it slow because it was hard to chew. And it wasn't baby food, it was regular food. And I was feeling fuller at the time. Now, is it easy to do that when your jaw is not out of place? No, it is not. But when you get there, when you get yourself in that mindset, when you can do that, when you get yourself, if you want to exercise or walk, just doing basic movement exercises is totally different too. But what's that have to do with the survival guide to, if you don't know how to cook? Well, probably nothing. But it's all part of it. And if you made it to this point in this video, then it's something to lift your eyebrows about and say, okay, I do need to walk some more. That's why people mall walk. You see all those older people and younger people at the mall walking. They're doing it to help maintain their body the best they can. If that's what you want to do, then maybe you should look into it. Okay. So basically, what I threw in there about the canned goods is, obviously, if you have canned vegetables and you're in a secluded place and you don't have a big food supply, you may want to save those juices. If you need the liquids, you may need a little bit of extra sodium out of there, because what I've been told is your body needs your vitamins, nutrients, sodiums, and salts. So more stuff for you to look up and research, more stuff to read about, more YouTube videos to watch. That was the highlights of that. This is not a life-saving survival guide. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I'm not the all-knowing here. Yeah, it could save your life if you wake up and research the vegetables, fruits, and nuts diets, or the plant-based diets and the concept. Maybe not fully go with it, not become a vegan or a vegetarian overnight. If you want to, hey, maybe you'll get there someday. Am I currently? No. I am just a guy trying. I've lost about 15 pounds just eating fruit cups and only a few regular snacks and small amounts of normal food. That's just going to work every day and just lounging around when I'm not working. Sometimes go to the store here and there. Now, if I learn to walk an extra couple miles a day besides work, hey, maybe that's a whole different story. But basically, this is not a diet. I'm not trying to change your mind about that. All the diets that I've remotely even tried, like they say, you can put on double. You have to change your mindset, the way you eat. It's a lifestyle change. And that's what I've been trying to do. This has nothing to do with that. This is the survival guide if you don't know how to cook. Grab some carrots, grab some celery, grab some vegetables, grab some fruits from the store, grab some nuts from the store. Get the stuff that's already prepared if you have to. Get the freezer stuff if you can, Pay for it at the register, go home, put it where it's not going to rot in a couple days on you. Buy smaller quantities. Save that money in the bank if you can. If you can make a couple 0.1% interest in that savings account. It's not much nowadays. I don't want to bring that up, believe me. Now, the other part is some people do say, definitely research it more, definitely. But some people do say the 51% of your diet of the raw food, of the plant-based diet, or the fruits and vegetables and nuts, is better for your digestion. So that's not the gospel, but some of the people that's in the shows believe it is. So look up some of the popular food shows online, WVIZ or any public television as well. Netflix has some awesome shows on it. Basically, after my dad passed away, I researched a little bit more about strokes and stuff like that, and there is a doctor on VIZ that recommends stuff to eat and not to eat, and if you're willing to make the changes, he says you can switch your life around. So that's when I found out more about that. That's when I was willing to watch more of the shows. I haven't seen them all, and I have seen a variety of shows over the time, but nothing lately. I'm just, trying to get my mindset on what my focus is for me and what might help you. And if you don't know how to cook, go with the food that's already prepared. Not the fast food, not the junk food. The vegetables, the fruits, the nuts. You can buy them pre-made in the baggies now. They have them. You can just buy a big thing of celery or carrots or whatever you want and cut them up into pieces. You can bag them. You can freeze them. Many options. Many other videos for you to watch. I'm probably not going to make a lot of videos on that stuff, but it's out there. There's stuff on canning, freezing, preparing food, preparing vegetables. Maybe take a job as a cook in a vegan bar. I'm sure you'll learn to cook. Or at least work a salad bar somewhere. Maybe there's church functions where people will help you learn to cook and take some interest in helping you know how to prepare salads that you don't have to have all the junk stuff. And lately I've tried a little bit of honey on my salads. The better honey is better. But it gives me that little bit of, my mind's like, wow, that salad is a little bit addictive just by putting that little bit of honey on there. Along with, if I try to put the healthier dressings, or if I do put the dressings that may not be as good, smaller quantities. Sometimes I'll add a little water so the dressing mixes around. And I've been known to mix it with other foods, but that's a whole different story. But that's part of the survival guide of if you don't know how to cook. So then, in my opinion, instead of laying around eating junk food 24/7, 365 days a year, try an alternative. Instead of buying 10 candy bars, maybe only buy 5, maybe buy 2, maybe buy 1, maybe buy none. And get yourself some of those. Couple apples, couple oranges, couple pears, couple plums, a little bit of strawberries. And a lot of times at the bigger stores, you're allowed to take a handful of strawberries out and buy them separately, or a handful of grapes if they're not in a sealed pack. A lot of times that's why those bags are open top, because they're selling you stuff by the pound. It's like if you go to a lumber yard, you can buy the boards by the foot and have them cut. You're not paying extra for the boards you don't need. They eat the cost of that. It's kind of like if you only want a handful of strawberries and it's not in a sealed pack, you're allowed to take them out of the bag and just buy a small half a pound, a quarter pound, whatever you want. So, depends on the store. Prepackaged stuff's totally different, even for the vegetables. So, maybe try eating healthy if you're up to the challenge. Now, so basically this is the health food challenge. This is a vegetable challenge. It's a natural fruit challenge. It's a natural cashews, nuts, peanuts, challenge. It's got to be better than them soap pods. LOL. Sorry. I had to throw that in there. I didn't have the right landing, but you got what I'm saying. I didn't want to say the name brand because that all the companies have that, you know. I'm not going to bring up the fact that sometimes people may be a little crazy, but you know, there might be a few out there that like trying other stuff. I don't suggest that by any means. Try the vegetables, the fruits, the nuts. Can't say it enough. This is the survival guide of if you don't know how to cook, then go to the grocery store and hang out in the produce section. Alright, well, don't hang out too long. People think it's weird, but you know what I'm saying. Go there, get your stuff. Small enough quantities that it's not going to go to waste. Or nowadays you can order online and they have delivery, or you can just go to the pickup and pick up the bags. You don't have to wander around the store picking up all the bad food or the junk food. So, just a thought. Just a thought. I still like walking around the store for the exercise, personally. And you get to see those extra sales and bargains, but I don't recommend that. Although I still participate in some of those extra sales and bargains. Some of them may want to keep their sodium lower and avoid a lot of bad carbs.